Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for Ecommerce Espresso, the webinar that's shorter than your coffee break. To keep these episodes as quick and insightful as possible, we don't hold a Q&A live. However, if you do have any questions you'd like to put to LoyaltyLion or today's guest, then please do tweet us at LoyaltyLionHQ using the hashtag Ecommerce Espresso, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So yeah, let's jump straight in before our coffees get cold, shall we? Today, I'm joined by Mark Cooper from Starshipit. Mark, do you want to tell the audience a little bit about yourself and Starshipit?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm the Sales and Partnerships Manager for Starshipit. I joined the organisation back in June 2019. Starshipit is an automation piece of software that sits within the e-commerce environment that allows retailers, merchants to automate the shipping process. We connect to around about 35, 40 different e-commerce platforms, warehouse management systems, inventory management systems, and also a whole bunch of different carriers as well. So ultimately, we make it a lot easier for people to be able to print their labels and get on with their normal jobs.
Brilliant. Well, it's great to have you on board as well. So let's get stuck in with our first question. It's quite a big one, this one. I'm quite excited to hear your thoughts on this. So amid all of the worldwide supply chain issues that we're seeing at the moment, what advice can you give to merchants who are quite anxious about building strong customer relationships?
Well, I think 2022 customers want to be able to have a bit of a choice of what they do. So when you purchase something at a checkout, you don't just want to have this is the only way that you're going to be able to send this item. You want the choice of express delivery, you might want standard delivery or premium delivery. And it's just being able to be transparent for the customer so they actually can see what happens when they purchase something. I mean, there's a huge array of automation software out there. There's lots of different options that give customers branded tracking pages. Keeping your customer informed throughout the delivery cycle is something that we have seen is a really big plus, and retailers can offer these options at cost, or they can offer them as free shipping, these kind of things. And what we've seen as well, these different touch points like branded tracking pages, customer notifications, it's a really good way of being able to keep the customer completely informed, and also just being able to show something like the operation. So if the customer can see the warehouse as it's producing the shipments, and as the shipments are being, their shipment is being processed, sometimes that gives the customer a bit of an idea of what goes on once they've clicked on the item that they want, they've put it into their shopping cart, and it doesn't just magically happen that their shipment gets delivered. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So yeah, we've seen these touch points and people within the organizations being able to show the senior management team getting involved with messages if there are delays, or if there are implications of different things happening in the world that might make those international shipments a little bit slower, or it's just managing expectations and giving the customer transparency.
Yeah, massive. I think that's so important. I actually had a recent experience. It was my first time order from a merchant. I bought some chews for my puppy because I was fed up with him biting everything he could get his mouth on in the house, including me. So the delivery from the courier just said refused by customer, though, which was a little bit strange because I work from home as well. So but I think the point was, I got such clear communication when I called them up. They rectified it straight away. And even though I got the delivery a day later, it didn't leave that sour taste in my mouth, and I'll probably go back to them, given that A, the experience was so good, but B, my puppy also quite liked the chews as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and I liked your point around different sorts of experiences that you can offer to customers. Some could be at cost, but some things that we see really well that merchants do is, for example, build that into their loyalty program, where if they've got tier-based rewards, they can offer maybe next day delivery, express delivery, or free returns to their top tier members, because you want to make them feel like they're your VIPs, but they're also your customers that have got the highest average order values. So that approach definitely helps to mitigate the impact that it has on margins as well. And I think kind of on that, can you share an example that you've seen of a brand that does that post-purchase experience really well to help build loyalty?
Yeah, so we have a customer actually over in Oz called Oz Hair and Beauty, and their branded tracking pages give the customer some really good options to join their email marketing, their YouTube channel. They can sign up to any newsletters or their social media. And it's a really good way of being able to kind of get customers to subscribe. And if they've had a good experience, branded tracking pages, for example, a great way to be able to kind of lock the customer into that. And it gives them the feeling that they're not going off to go and track their item with one of the carriers. And there's nothing more frustrating than that when you bought something, you think, crikey, where do I go now?
Yeah.
So it's a really good way of being able to see the stages of the journey of your package. And if there's some really good content on there, like signing up for a newsletter or a YouTube channel, then that's a really positive experience.
Yeah, massively. I think that those post-purchase touch points are such a good opportunity to, it's the extra touch points to engage with your customers. So whether that's just benefits of, signing up to the newsletter, what they're going to see is part of that experience, why they should keep engaged with you as a brand, really, and how they can do that. I think there's so much room for experimentation around that.
Absolutely. And everybody, it's all about the brand nowadays. And one of the big kind of plus points is, being able to put your brand values through these particular mediums. It could be your packaging, could be one of the ways that you're on point and showing the right message. For example, our sister company is a company called Better Packaging, so a lot of the retailers will use Better Packaging because the packaging is compostable. It's that kind of thing. It's really good sustainable type packaging, and that's really on point, especially if you're wanting to make sure that your brand is giving that the right sort of message to the retailers, to the consumers.
Yeah, hugely. I think conscious consumerism definitely is front and center right now. I think I'm trying to make better choices myself as a consumer of most things. But I just hate it though when I get a big box for a tiny item. It just seems like such a waste. I think shout out to Inky List here that I had a delivery from recently, where everything was spot on in terms of recycling and packaging with that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But even bigger question than the first one, our last question. What do you think is going to be the next big thing, the next big trend in e-commerce fulfillment?
Well, I think shipping is becoming more of a necessity and more of a thing that's going to be more beneficial to get right. And I think if everything from having all of these touch points, having all of these branded tracking pages, like a returns portal, all of these different areas are now becoming front and center of the retailers' thinking. It was an afterthought before, but now it's really, really important that once a customer has bought something, if it's not been delivered on time, or if you've had a bad experience, or if you're not being kept informed, that's the last time that you have that connection with the brand. And if it's a bad experience, you're going to give a bad review. You're going to be quite evangelical about it if it hasn't been a good experience. So, shipping is a huge thing. Returns, international shipping as well. That's been a huge challenge that we've seen within our organization and the carriers that we work with. International shipping, especially from this part of the world, with some of the challenges around Brexit, around a lot of the bureaucracy now that is there, that we have to be able to help navigate the customers through. And if it's a complex experience for the customer, then that's quite painful, and retailers are going to shy away from offering international shipping. So it's good to choose a partner who is across all of the different challenges, like the documentation for harmonization codes, HS codes, economic operators registration identifier, EORI number it's called, import one-stop shop, IOSS numbers. All of these things are really, really important. If you're shipping into Europe, if you haven't got your ducks lined up, then it's going to be a really painful experience for your customer. There's going to be duties and taxes involved. There's going to be delays. There's going to be all sorts of bureaucracy that is very difficult to navigate through. So it's getting that right. And if you're importing and exporting, you need to have all of those areas covered, and to get the best experience for the customer.
Yeah, it sounds like it's become quite a headache to start shipping things, or getting even more of a headache to ship things internationally. You see the queues outside of the ports and everything like that, and obviously we had Suez last year, and all sorts of things that it seems like what's next almost. So yeah, it's so important to select the right partner to
you have to be able to do something that the competition perhaps isn't doing very well, and it's just making sure that the partners that you're aligning with within the ecosystem have the knowledge and have all of that information automated within the platforms.
Yeah, definitely. And I think going back to your point as well around the shipping being your last touch point with the customer, I think that is probably one of the most important points of today. It can't be an afterthought anymore. No. If you leave shoppers with that bad taste in their mouth, and we as humans, we do hold on to those negative experiences more than positive experiences. We expect things to be seamless. We live in that sort of age of almost instant gratification where if things go wrong, we're going to moan about it. If things go right, we might not leave a review necessarily. So I think you're bang on the money with that. So it can really hurt your chances of getting them to come back and buy from you again massively. I think something that we see really effective merchants doing is linking their help desks, for instance, to their loyalty program, so they can see, okay, this customer is actually a very valuable customer of ours. We can potentially, or they're a first-time customer of ours. We want to be able to make sure that we're on top of those experiences. Maybe award loyalty points in exchange for any inconvenience suffered by customers, for instance, can really go a long way in making sure that they're not left with that sour taste as well. But yeah, so I mean, unfortunately, that's all we've got time for today. So thanks very much again, Mark. Where can people find out more about Starshipit?
So yeah, if you want to reach out to me, I'm on LinkedIn. Just look for Starshipit on LinkedIn, and also our website www.starshipit.com. And yes, sign up to our newsletter. Feel free to sign up for a trial. We will call you, we will introduce ourselves to you and help you if you have any questions. Or you can email me, mark.cooper@starshipit.com.
Brilliant. Well, yeah, I hope everyone's found today valuable, been left with some good ideas and insights. We'll be sharing the on-demand recording as well, so don't worry about if you feel you've missed something. So one last big thank you to Mark for being today's guest speaker. And remember, if you do have any other questions for either Starshipit or LoyaltyLion, just tweet using the hashtag Ecommerce Espresso as well. And we hope to see you online again soon. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you.